Hey, well, Mug World Entertainment, and if you thought things couldn't get any worse for Doctor Who, well, the BBC and Russell T Davies literally just did a hold my beer and watch this moment, because, oh my. Now, this is regarding what they're calling Season 2. Now, what you have to remember about Season 2 is that's already done. It's already filmed. All of that stuff, it's ready to come out. We don't know actually when it's coming out, but it will be coming out on Disney Plus and I assume the BBC and whatnot. But they're now introducing everybody to the writers of said season, which is technically season 15, but they're calling it season 2 because it's Ncuti Gatwa's second season. The very first name that gets brought up though is the one that everybody is just going, you gotta be absolutely 100% shitting us on this one. But it falls right into what you could expect from the BBC, because we know the type of people they've been hiding, and now we find out they've hired this person to write parts of Doctor Who Season 2. That person goes by the name of Juno Dawson. Now, a lot of people will probably go, I don't know who that is. There's reasons you probably don't know who that is. This is a sick individual. And I'm not saying they're sick because they're trans. At least they're saying they're trans. No, they're sick because they are basically a full-on groomer. Oh yes. And all of their books and the crap you see in them just tells you flat out that that is the case. And of course, when you read about this person, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So, they wrote a book. They wrote lots of books, but they wrote this one in particular called This Book is Gay. That's not me saying, oh, the book they wrote is gay. No, the book is called This Book is Gay. And it caused uproar. And in fact, got pulled, not just from library, from schools. That's right, they had this in school. And just when you see some of the things that are in it, it's sick. It's actually sick. Now, you can find what's in this book, but we couldn't actually discuss it fully or even show it really for how explicit it is. And this is what you heard about this. So it says, This Book is Gay has faced controversy since its publication. In November of 2014, residents in Wasilea, I hope I pronounced that right, Alaska, petitioned to remove the book from a public library, with a number of residents objecting to profanity and naughty time explicit content. If you want to get an idea of just even some of the things that are somewhat tame that we could actually listen to from this book, well, say no more, because we can get that from this clip of this woman who's actually reading this thing, just the start of chapter 9. So get ready for hearing what this is. So this is just a snippet of what you could expect in this thing. Have a listen to this.
I think it's important to remember that this book is aimed at young adults, which I believe is 12 and up. So in this chapter, Juno Dawson states from the beginning, this chapter is about sex. Therefore, it has sex in it. Well, duh. If you are a younger reader and feel you aren't ready for the finer details of same-sex pairings, then simply skip this whole chapter. However, before you do, I'd like to remind you that we taught you all about straight sex when you were 10 years old during year 6. The fact that they didn't also teach you what same-sex couples do is nothing less than institutionalized homophobia.
Right, so you've heard that there, and it's just like, wow, this is mind-blowing. Yeah, so to start with, you're hearing that there, because he is English. I'm not saying she, it's not a she, it's a he. And has only really done this transition bullshit only recently. They were born James. That's his name, James. And he's decided to change it to Juno. But they are English, and in England and Ireland we have in schools sex education. Now, when you hear the woman in that video saying, reading that paragraph in the book where it says you were taught about sex from the ages as little as 10, that's not true, and that is not accurate. For anyone in America who doesn't know any of this stuff, what sex education is in our schools is when you reach basically the end of kindergarten. So you're not even 10, you're around the ages of 11 and 12. You are not taught about sex, as in two people hooking up and whatnot. You were taught about the human anatomy. That is your first introduction to what is called sex education, but it's actually learning about the anatomy of people. You're old enough basically to start, basically kindergarten cop, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That stuff. That is what you were taught. You were not taught until what you would class as second grade. We call it second year in high school, is when you actually get taught sex education, proper sex education, safe sex, all that stuff. So when that thing writes in that book, oh, you should really read about same-sex couples and what they can do, because you're old enough now at the age of 10, because you were taught sex education when you were 10. It's a case of, no, they weren't. They were taught the anatomy. That's it. Not where bits and pieces go. So that's just a hint of where you can see this person pretty much does grooming. And that's what you find in their books as well, is they're really writing about young people, like children, from very young ages, single digits, and basically what they want to do with them and stuff like that. That's the type of sickness that this freak has. And in fact, this freak even went after a 14-year-old girl because they called him out, basically. So check this out. This was a response in a tweet that Juno Dawson did, and they wrote this: excluding women from women's spaces isn't very feminist, is it? All women are at risk from male violence. We must work together to protect all women. And they keep highlighting all. This is in regards now to guys that want to be women going into the change rooms and all this type of stuff. And then they continued, they followed that up by saying, since the clusterfuck at Pride, it's been interesting that people have been sliding into my DMs to tell me some outwardly liberal, woke authors and writers have expressed such concerns about trans women. This is how they ended this. You might want to be careful who you're mouthing off to. Sounds like a pretty big threat coming from, well, this thing. This, as you can see, is Juno/James. Because you can see there, this person is only, 41 years of age? 43 years of age. And as you can see, had a full-grown beard. All of a sudden, loses the beard and dyes their hair red. And the next thing you know is, oh look, I have long hair and I put makeup on. That's the journey this person has had for the past couple of years. Yeah, and all of a sudden they're getting work at the BBC. Isn't that very interesting? Not to mention the fact that they did go after other people over the fact that, well, basically all of Doctor Who fans, by putting out a tweet that said, to the haters who said I can't keep secrets, in your face, as they're photographed in the TARDIS. But even just to see more of just what kind of freak this person is, they wrote this. This is what James Dawson wrote before and said. Get ready for this. I knew I wanted to be the woman when it came to sex. It was a conscious urge to get effed. Be peed as a woman would be. The final frontier of kink for gay men is women. Yeah, this thing is basically saying that all gay men actually just want to be women and they just want to get effed. That's what this person is. So the BBC and their Doctor Who site, the actual BBC site that does the Doctor Who stuff, puts out meet your new writers and all this crap for season 2, and the first person they highlight is Juno. And they write, Juno Dawson is a #1 Sunday Times best-selling novelist, screenwriter and journalist, whose books include the global bestsellers This Book is Gay and Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Dawson created the first official Doctor Who scripted podcast, Doctor Who Redacted. Juno says, I started watching Doctor Who with my grandma when I was 10 years old in the 90s. From writing fan fiction for an audience of one to scripting the best TV show of all time is truly a dream come true. I can't wait for the fans and newcomers to see the new season. What newcomers? Have you seen the ratings? What newcomers? And of course, when you look up who this person is, it says Juno Dawson is an English author of young adult fiction and non-fiction. Dawson's notable works include This Book is Gay, Mind Your Head, Margaret and Me, The Gender Games, Clean, Meat Market, and the series Her Majesty's Royal Coven. That's an interesting slash of names there, isn't it? From this absolute freak. And make no bones about it, this person is a freak, and this is the person they want to write what is essentially a show for the family. And they want this thing who had their books banned because they're so explicit towards young people. What this degenerate wants to do to young people, this flat out groomer wants to do. And when I say young people, I mean kids. They want your kids, and they're making no secret about it that they want to come and get your kids. So long, Doctor Who. My God, did you have a good run, and my God, was the fall from grace shocking, fast, and downright disgusting at this stage. So, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.